Honestly, I've really needed the break from working. Thankfully for me, I've been afforded a little bit of free time to take time off work because I don't have any immediate deadlines, and everything that I do need to do with a deadline, I still have a few days to do it, and I know what I need to do, and I feel pretty comfortable with getting done the things I need to get done. But honestly, I really needed the break because it's January 19th and I haven't taken a break since before December. So I'm currently getting a second bachelor's degree in communications. The semester ended, the holidays started, and I continued working because I've had one client I'm trying to get done with her manuscript. I started working at a local business doing social media marketing, which is great. They're all the things I'm doing currently. Thankfully and gratefully, they're all things that I love to do and things that I've been wanting to do. So it's been great, but at the same time, I've needed a goddamn break. So if you haven't met me yet, you can call me River. This is my channel. And for my own sanity, when it comes to editing this, I'm gonna try really hard not to and or but too much, but it's gonna take some practice. I can cut it out, but I would really like to have some straight shots where I don't have to jump cut my sentences too much. Like, that's just something I want to work on, being more eloquent, because I'm fairly well written as a writer, but speaking is not my forte. As much as I fucking talk, I'm not that great of a speaker. I hate public speaking so much. So welcome to 2020. We're almost a full month in at the time of this recording, and I've been thinking a lot about the last few years of the previous decade, the trajectory that I've been on. One of the things that I've been doing is, I've been editing, I've been working with authors. I've done some contracting with a publishing house that I interned at while I was getting my first bachelor's degree in creative writing. So that afforded me some work, which is awesome, but I've been moving away from that to take on more private clients so I can have more of a say in what I'm doing and how I'm being compensated. I've also been in the process of finishing up my second bachelor's degree, and I will be finished in May. Hallelujah. I've got 2 more classes, and the funny thing about the communications department, especially compared to the English department, is that the English department has several tracks, like focuses. So I have an English degree, but my focus was in creative writing. I could have had a focus in literature or more of a liberal studies or liberal arts. I chose creative writing, so I took a lot of literature classes. Believe me, I have. But on top of that, I had a lot of workshops that I did, a lot of writing workshops. But communications department's a little bit different. So back in the day at universities, English was a part of communications. Well, really, I think public speaking and rhetoric was a part of the English department. A public speaking instructor wouldn't necessarily want to be teaching English Comp 101. So the communications department across universities, at least in the US, I don't know how it is in other countries, was created. And so within communications, you do have broadcast journalism, you have journalism. It is writing, but it's definitely a different style of writing and a learning curve for me because it's the habits of the other writing that I do. There's communication leadership, like literally the study of communications and how we communicate with each other. So there's a dash of psychology in there, marketing and advertising. And recently, at least at the university that I go to, we have integrated more of a film track in it. Even though it's not a formal track or focus or degree, it is an option within the communications department. So I have always been interested in film and film production. Well, I shouldn't say always. I got interested in it after dropping a class for the first time ever back when I was finishing my AA. Signed up for cinema appreciation because it was the only other elective class open, and I was like, oh, looks cool, looks easy. And that was probably back when I was 19, so 6 years ago. And since then, like, I've wanted to learn more and discover more and be a part of film and cinema, as well as learning more about the world of it academically, because there's a lot of merit to it. It's a lot in it's a lot. Film theory on its own and film philosophy is quite the rabbit hole to go down, but it's really fun, at least for me. I'm finishing that up, and I'm getting some more experience on the production side. And I am one of those that was fairly smart back in school, like elementary, middle school, high school. So not that I was the top of the class, I was lower to mid tier of the highest class. I'm intelligent, but I'm not always smart. So for me, if I try something new and if I am not immediately mediocre at it, I get extremely discouraged and I don't want to do it. It's one reason why I don't play pool. I've tried it a few times and I fucking hated it because I'm not okay at it right off the bat. Production for me has been a little bit of that because I don't think I'm that good. I think I have a lot to learn, which is okay, and there's nothing wrong with that. And the technical side fascinates me, and I want to be able to direct or manage or facilitate or produce or whatever, but I also understand that and appreciate that I should have a basic understanding and experience in these other areas when it comes to production. So that is the very long-winded version of me explaining why you're here. One of the other things I did the last 2-3 years was try online coaching or growing an online business or being a presence. And I'm not ashamed to admit, I would love to be a goddamn influencer because I like shit. And I don't think that influencer is a dirty word, but I know there are examples of not so great or inauthentic influencers, and then the ones that are usually don't like to call themselves influencers. Like the good ones usually don't like to call themselves that, and then there's people in between that are like, it's influence, it's not a bad thing. And if you have any understanding of rhetoric and persuasion at all, influence is not a bad thing, it's just how you use it. I started doing that and I wanted to create content. I wanted to be, out there in the world, and I still do. And I've contemplated, obviously, for like 3 years of, having a channel or putting out content or, being a creator. And I really like those ideas, but at the same time, I'm not trying to chase after some white rabbit of this is gonna make everything good, it's gonna be a success right off the bat. Like, I absolutely know that. And I don't even think that for me success is being someone so recognizable or being, millions of views or even hundreds of thousands of views. Like, I don't care, but I do care what I leave for myself. Ultimately, the thought that I've come to, or the realization that I've come to, is that I don't necessarily want to vlog, and there are some things that I want to try out or experiment with or showcase that are related directly to my film production, or trying to make something kind of cinematic, or, just playing around, that don't fit within the atypical vlogger formula. And vlogging is just one of those words that has gotten a little bit worn out. So I thought back to something that I've told one of my authors when I was working with her, and I encouraged her, she's really good at journaling and doing live videos on her Facebook or having a podcast, but I'm like, document your life, document it. You will have such an appreciation for where you started and where you are, even if it's like a month later or 3 months later, to see that shift and change. And I realized that in my own personal experience, working through a few issues and some toxic things that I did not know I was hanging on to after all these years. And, journaling and writing and documenting in that way really helped me. And so, again, super long-winded, more explanation than I even asked for. What I want to do, the thing I want to accomplish more than anything, is I want something that I can look back on and embarrass my kids with or share with them, and, leave something for the people I actually care about to enjoy. And I don't mean it to sound like morbid or something, and who knows if we'll even have the internet or technology one day. Like, we could be hit by a solar flare, all that bullshit. But it's not really about the final product, but in a way it is, because there's a waiting game, there's a longevity to it, there's this hope for perceived permanence. But at the same time, it's more of, I just want to capture and document pieces of me now, and to be present now while also honoring the part of me that wants to save stuff for later. Keeping one eye on the present and another eye on the horizon and looking like a cross-eyed weirdo, but if that's what makes me happy, that's what makes me happy. This is not vlogging, and this is not, which I don't give a shit. Honestly, if it looks like vlogging, call it vlogging, I don't care. But how I view this is more of a video journal. You know, people did video diaries, and there's a lot of really cool found footage type things and ways to use that as a narrative or a framework and a story, and I fucking love it. But for me, this is less of a diary because it is public and more of a journal. So this is my journal, and sometimes I will journal stuff that is things I'm working on, videos I've made like for class. I don't know if you'll care to look or if it's even on your radar, but if you do look at my channel where it sits currently, I do have some videos on there. I did upload 1 or 2 that were for my production 1 class in the fall of 2019. And then there's actually other videos on there from like a whole different phase. It wasn't even that long ago. It was before I was using my pen name, so I go by River now. It's not my given name, but I go by River, so just call me River, don't worry about it. It was while I was still doing Card and Coffee, which was my tarot reading business, but I was also trying to shove a lot of other things into it, and it got to the point where it didn't fit, and I didn't really have the desire anymore to run a tarot reading business, which is nothing wrong with that. It's there, and I'm gonna leave it there until I decide not to, or if I change my mind, I reserve the right to. This is the initiation for me of my journals here. And yeah.